Disclaimer, this is just an imagination. Nothing in this video is related to the K-pop idol's real life. This story may contain some gore content, so please, if you're not comfortable, don't watch. I hope you enjoy this FF. Pin drop silence. Not a single creature is visible. Only screams could be heard. A disaster took place in this area. It's not a disaster caused by God. This brutal disaster is caused by human. People are being stabbed multiple times, not for revenge, but for satisfaction. Women are brutally tortured. Even children were not shown mercy. An unknown person was walking down the road, as if he owns the road. He had a knife in his hand. Bloods were all over his body. He was still unbothered. He had a sinful smirk on his face. His eyes landed on an injured person who was trying his best to survive. He went near him and stabbed every inch of his body multiple times, brutally. He himself forgot how many times he pushed that knife inside the victim. Lastly, he said, "Poor thing, couldn't even fight his knife, but was thinking to face this brutal world. Huh. Thank me in your next life for freeing you from this hell." A girl saw the whole thing. She pitied that person, but rage was filled in her eyes. All she could think was the death she witnessed right now. She silently left what something had in her mind. After all, she's a savior. Jenny entered the house to witness her two maids sitting. She was overwhelmed by what she saw a few moments ago. But she controlled herself and said, "When did you come back?" "Few minutes ago, Jen." "What happened? You look a bit tensed." With dark aura asked her, "I witnessed another murder." Another female said with sweet yet seductive voice, "Another murder? The murderer. He's a member of Kangsu Empire. We have to do something. Demons disguised as human." "But Rosie, we can't do anything. They're worse than a person could imagine." "Then what should we do? Sit back and watch those murders taking place? Seriously, can't just sit back and watch them killing people just for satisfaction." We have another option." A cool voice said in a very low pitch. They all looked back and saw a girl lighting up a cigarette. They all looked at each other and Jenny spoke. "What is it? When?" The girl just smirked while puffing on her cigarette. A demonish smirk was plastered on her face. "Wait and watch, my folks." None of them knew what was going inside her head except herself. But they definitely knew they will get a big surprise as Wine never fails to surprise them. A car with full speed entered inside the forest. Four girls sitting inside the car with no fear. Soon one of them asked to the girl who was driving in high speed, "Wine, where are we going?" "You will see in a bit," she said as she saw a mansion right in the center of the forest. Others saw the mansion as well. Soon the car stopped in front of the mansion. All of them sighed and Wine said, "Don't fear death. Remember, I'm here." They all smirked as they know that their young one doesn't fear death. They all hop out and stood in front of the big mansion. Wine stayed quiet for a moment and went in. We went in front of the door and the front door opened. I looked down and smirked because I know the face I hate the most is in front of me. I looked up with the same expression and saw the person I hated the most. Long time no see, Mr. John Jungkook. Jeon let out a sly scoff and said, "What made an angel come to a devil on her own feet?" John said while leaning on the door with a smirk on his face, which irritated the hell out of Wyan. Wyan sighed, calming herself down. On the other hand, Jeon was enjoying seeing Wyan like that. Wyan decided to get straight to the point. "We came here for something important. If you're done with then let us talk about it before I lose my temper." Jeon's face darkened hearing her. He leaned closer to her and said, "Don't talk to me like that, or else it won't take me a second to rip that pretty mouth of yours," Jeon said while rubbing Wyan's lip with his thumb. Wyan yanked his hand and was about to say something, but suddenly, "You're here to discuss something important. Say and leave." Wyan smiled, provoking them, and said, "You treat your guests like this? Very disappointing." Wyan pushed them aside and stepped inside. She straight went towards the couch, followed by her members, and sat while looking at each of them with her piercing eyes. They all looked at them with cold eyes. Wyan said, "So hello everyone. You may not know me or know me. I'm Wyan, member of Royal Swan. It's really not nice to meet you at all." One of them stood up and went near Wyan with rage in his eyes and pressed the knife on her neck and said, "The lion, the witch, the audacity of this." Thang pressed the knife harder on her neck as blood started to come out. But that didn't affect Wyan a bit. She smirked and said, "I hope you won't regret this." Wyan grabbed his hand, twisted, which leads to release the knife. She grabbed the knife and put on his neck. He remained unbothered, but amazed. Wyan slowly put away the knife and rubbed the blood from her neck and said, "You must love it. Seeing blood satisfies you, right, Mr. Park Jimin?" Jimin smirked, his eyes fixed on her neck, and said, "You don't even know how I'm controlling myself from licking that blood of yours. And you don't know how I am controlling myself from slapping the heck out of you." Jimin's smirk dropped hearing her statement. He took a long step towards her, but Wyan came in middle, making Jimin stumble. He looked at her with rage but backed away when he heard a voice. "What brings you here, Miss Wyan?" Wyan looked at him and bowed. She only have respect for this man because she knows this man keeps his word. Wyan said, "We are here because we need to do some settlements." Yoongi frowned and said, "What settlements?" "We came here to talk about Kong Empire. We need to do something against them. So, we need your help. If you need our help, bend down on your knees, bow your head, and ask for forgiveness. Wine scoff and look at him in disbelief. Gion, don't test me. I'm worse than you can imagine. I'm warning you. I don't care. If you want our help, you have to beg for it. Then we'll think. My blood boiled hearing him. I really want to choke him to death. Suddenly Lisa spoke up. We don't need your help. Why? Why you came here? When you know that these jerks are good for nothing. Let's go. We just wasted our time. I didn't say anything. We left from there silently. We drive back home. I remained silent the whole ride. I could feel that everyone was angry with me, but the only thing came in my mind was how to defeat Kang Empire. We reached home, fresh up, and were discussing about the plan to attack on Kang Empire. We were busy discussing about the plan. Suddenly a huge sound of explosion hit our ears, making us flinch. We took our weapons and we head out to see many cars in front of our house. We understood it was Kang Empire's men. I was about to shoot them but felt a sharp pain on my neck and everything started to become blur. Right up on the chair, each member were unconscious. Guards were standing behind each members. After a few minutes, Wine opened her eyes, but immediately closed her eyes again to adjust the brightness. She looked around and saw guards were watching them. She looked down and saw her hands tied. She was a bit worried to see other members still unconscious. Wine was in her thoughts. Suddenly, a bucket of cold water landed on her face, making her cough. Others wake up as they got splashed too. She looked up with rage and saw Kangsu, the cold, ruthless leader of Kang Empire. Everyone fears him. His anger is enough to make someone lose their life. He came near Wyan and gently pat her head, saying, "Pretty people really don't have brains. Trying to stop me. I won't stop, but if you come to me every night, then I may consider." Wyan looked in his eyes with smirk and said, "Sorry, I hate small." Kangsu's smirk dropped. Kangsu harshly grabbed her hair, making her head fall back. Then smirk didn't lift and slip. The smirk was triggering Kangsu. He slapped her hard. "Control that pretty mouth of yours, or it will get you in trouble." "I'm looking forward to it." Kangsu was about to say something, but a guard came and whispered something in his ears, making his eyes widen. He rushed out. "Wyan, how we will get out from here?" I smirked. I opened my mouth and flicked out a blade and held it between my teeth. They were shocked. I took the blade and started to cut the rope. After a few minutes, the rope cut off. I opened others and went out and saw Kangsu's men were pointing their gun on one direction. I looked at the direction and saw Black Dragon members. I was surprised but didn't show it. I cracked my neck and take out my hidden gun and started to shoot each and every member of Kangsu. "Who the hell untie them?" She walked towards Black Dragon while shooting Kangsu's member. She walked past them while shooting. She turned around and pointed her gun at Jungkook. He didn't say anything. He just looked in her eyes. She tilted her head and shot the man behind Jungkook. Jungkook still had his eyes on Wine. Wine walked near him and said, "Now you should beg me for forgiveness. After all, I saved your life, John." Jungkook closed his eyes in frustration. He hates it when she calls him by his surname, and Wine knows that very well. Wine was about to walk past him, but suddenly Jungkook grabbed her wrist and pulled her, making her fall on his chest. She looked up at him. He pulled her closer by her neck and said, "Let's go." "Huh?" Before Wine could understand, Jungkook pulled her with him and started running. The moment they went out of the building, a huge explosion occurred, making them fall apart. Lisa, Jenny, and Rosie ran up to Wine. Wine tried to stand but fall back. Wine looked at her surroundings and saw a long iron rod stuck at Jungkook's stomach. She crawled towards him and put his head on his lap. I crawled towards him and put his head on my lap, pat his cheeks and said, "Hey, John, wake up. Come on, you're not so weak. Get up. I still need to take my revenge. You can't just leave me. You can't go after betraying me. Get up. Open your eyes, John. I know he did worse to me, but I still do love him. You can't just leave me like that." Taeyang came near me and said, "Wine, calm down. Nothing will happen to him. We are taking him to the mansion. Jimin will drive you to our mansion. Don't worry." I nodded my head. They picked Jungkook in bridal style and put him inside the car and left. I felt being picked up from the ground. I looked up and saw Yoongi. "Let's go." We went inside the van and left the mansion. After 15 minutes, Taeyang called their family doctor. "It's been 10 minutes, doctor is checking him." I sighed. I still remember that day, the worst day of my life. The day we broke up and tried to kill each other. He betrayed me. You guys must be wondering what happened to us. Did we really hate each other so much? What happened that people who couldn't live without each other became rivals and tried to kill each other? Wine was busy in her thoughts. Suddenly Taeyang came and said, "Wine, you go and meet him." "It's okay. He should rest, and we will leave now." Wine was about to leave, but Taeyang's words stopped her. "He wants to meet you." She looked at him and he nodded. He guided her to the room. She opened the door. She went near him and said, How are you feeling right now?" Oh my god, you serious? You acting like this? You know what happened between us." "I'm sorry." "Your sorry won't fix me. You knew I loved you." I told him everything. Jungkook pulled Y in and said, "I still love you." "I know." He both looked at each other and kissed passionately. Ah, I miss this so damn much. I love you. I love you too, Cookie. Bye bye. Love you all. Please subscribe.